1160. And boy, I've got a group of ladies in here that are power movers here in Indiana County. Kris Levan was the co-chair of the last campaign for the United Way of Indiana County. And Kris, you came in today to spend some time with us. We appreciate that. And you brought some ladies with you today.
Sure did. Thanks for having us in again to help kind of wrap up the campaign, Todd.
Yeah, well, we're glad that you chose to come in and visit with us today because this was quite the successful campaign, wasn't it?
It was. We feel pretty good about it. We're 1 week out. I think still feeling good about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we set that goal 6-9 months ago. Feels like years.
Yeah.
And we're a little cautious with our goal because we thought we needed to be for where the community was.
Sure.
And that community helped us exceed that goal by about $135,000 exceeding the goal. So feeling great about that.
Pretty amazing. Really, really is. So who did you bring with you today?
So we have Jane Lockard-Clawson, the executive director of the United Way, that I'm hoping we can all kind of hear from because now we have that money. It's still not enough money. I hate saying that, but it still creates a gap from where we were in campaigns past. But it'd be great for Jane to kind of tell how we're going to use that money now, allocate it where it needs to go, and then really excited to, I think, for the first public time ever on radio at least, introduce the new co-chairs of the campaign, Amanda Augustine and Annie Rizzo.
Who you set a very high standard for them, didn't you?
We'll call it the COVID standard.
So you guys, you're the lucky ones that get the COVID standard.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a label and a T-shirt I want to wear. We'll talk with them in just a moment about what will happen in the coming campaign. But let's visit with you, Kris, and with Jane as well to talk about the way that the funds were raised this year and then how those funds will be applied. Jane, United Way of Indiana County does so much work, so much great work with so many different organizations, and probably people don't realize how many organizations and how many lives, therefore, are touched by the United Way, do they?
No, I think you're right. People I think sometimes just think we raise money and then it goes out into the community. But we have 15 partner agencies. But, we also do special summer grants for, anywhere from 5 to 10 additional organizations. We fund the PA 211 program. Of course, money goes out for Turkeython, and that goes to different organizations. And so, there's thousands and thousands of people in the county that receive these funds throughout the entire year in a lot of different ways. We're also the county administrator for the Emergency Food and Shelter Program. And because of COVID, we got extra money this year. So we gave out around $175,000 this year for food, utilities, shelter assistance to a number of organizations as well, that then in turn distributed, besides our own disaster emergency relief fund that we raised money for.
Yeah.
So we've had our fingers in a lot of things this year.
Yeah. And this year it is a unique year because of the pandemic and all that created. But United Way is always involved in a lot of different things, helping a lot of different people.
Yeah. We try to focus on kind of 3 core areas: health, education, and financial stability. Just some number examples. Around 3,500 people were involved in some capacity in receiving assistance, crisis assistance, utility, the shelter, the food assistance that we talked about, Alice Paul House, the disaster, the domestic violence, the Salvation Army, the Red Cross, so that crosses a lot of different areas. There were almost 3,000 kids that were involved in some way in programs that we supported to help foster physical and mental health. And then, just people that were involved in, I don't know. There's just so many different things I could talk about. But, people who just received assistance from, say, our 211 program through the Life Steps Family Care Mobile Resource Library, the tentacles that go out into the community are really far-reaching. And I don't even know that we can even really truly grasp it all because, when you collect data, you're collecting the basic information that you can, but out of 85,000 people, there's a lot of people, especially this year, that have really benefited from the donations that have come in from people in our community that have been so generous.
That's amazing. It really, really is. Kris Levan, when you and Chrissy Strucy were taking over the campaign for this year and the pandemic hit, you probably said to yourself, oh man, this is really going to be hard this year. It was different. It was quite the challenge, but boy, did Indiana County step forward.
Oh my goodness, they did. And I think like, determining how much money was one thing, but then like it hit us like, well, how are we actually going to raise it? Because we felt so dependent on events. Is what felt most fundraising felt like it came from events and bringing people together, which was exactly what we weren't able to do. And just just how our community adapted to being able to still like join us at those events virtually in the United Way office. I mean, the first thing we did was like acquire this event platform, this virtual event platform, and then we had to learn how to use it. Jane's small staff had to like learn how to use this. And I mean, some of the events because of that though actually ended up raising more money, which was just I think a very good awareness for us and for you guys next year, is that you can actually reach more people when you're not dependent on them being there in person with you. And we had at least a couple events, our basket raffle at the beginning of the year and our Super Bowl at the end of the year, which far exceeded how much participation we had and how much money we raised in previous years. So that was really encouraging.
Yeah, that is one of the positive things about the whole experience, is that it pushed us out of our comfort zone. And in the long run, I think it has really positioned us to be able to expand what we do and the people that we reach just by that virtual software platform. And we use that for everything that we did.
Yeah.
From workplace
tremendous.
campaigns to all the events to, and it's a really good platform for people to be educated on what we do too. So it includes a lot of information about what the United Way does, where, you're kind of limited on that if they're just coming to an event and listening to something.
And now, Amanda and Annie, all you have to do is sit back, kick your feet up, and the new campaign's just going to take care of itself, right?
Smooth sailing.
Oh, yeah, Todd. We have no work. We're going to just, sit back and relax.
Just going to count the money as it comes in.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, it might be a little bit more difficult than that. Might it not?
Yes. Well, Kris and Chrissy really set the bar pretty high for us, and they are, as you know, outgoing, extremely over the top with everything they do. So we really have big shoes to fill in stepping in. And not only in the enthusiasm department, but also, the goal and the amounts. With all the people that we were able to help this year, we really want to maintain and increase that in the next year coming.
Yeah, absolutely. In the past few years with Laurie Kosneski, with Joe Pittman and Clinton Smith, and Clinton followed Joe around faithfully wherever he went to learn from him exactly what he was doing and how when Clinton took over as the chair, he might be able to augment what Joe was doing. And now the two of you, Annie, I know that you've got some great examples that have been set for you, don't you?
Absolutely, yep. Yeah, and this year is just, the past year has been crazy, and like you said, following them around this year, we didn't get to do that. So we saw each other on Zoom at least once a week. And we made it work. And so moving forward, we'll do whatever we can to adapt. And we're hopeful that, things keep getting more normal and we're able to see people in person. But we'll make whatever we can do work.
Yeah, and the lessons learned from this year's campaign with Kris and Chrissy and with Jane are certainly things that you can apply now to the new campaign. And you can really broaden what the United Way is able to do in terms of reaching out to people and getting that campaign really flying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think not only the United Way, but I think just the world in general will now become, I don't really like the term new norm, but I think the new norm is that when you do have events, that there will be some component that is virtual. So people, as Jane said, you can reach more people. So even if I have a baseball game, I might still be willing to log on and make my donation, even though I can't be there in person or bid on a basket. So I think that piece of the puzzle will maintain far beyond the pandemic.
Yeah, I think we saw a bit of that when Facebook started to get really popular. And then when GoFundMe came along and people saw how quickly money could be raised and how willing people are to give. And I think that's one of the keys to the Indiana County United Way and the campaign and its success this year is the fact that people are willing to give. Sometimes they just need to have the door opened up for them or to be shown the way so that they could, okay, this is how I can give. This is how I can become a part of the campaign and help my friends and neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our county just really stepped up. We were pleasantly surprised by some of the emails and phone calls that we personally made to the generosity of the people who were donating. You know, I think, as Kris said in the beginning, I know Annie and I both work at the hospital, and we were sitting there in unknown spaces, you know, not in our offices, just on our computers, and thinking, like, how is this going to work, and how are we ever going to ask not only individuals who may have been impacted by the pandemic, but also, you know, the corporate campaigns are a large part of the money that comes in, and how are we supposed to reach out to these businesses when, you know, everyone is just so uncertain about the future. Yeah. So I think that moving forward, we learned that you just have to ask, that people are willing to step up, and they are willing to give a donation when you let them know exactly what you're going to do with their money. So I think that moving forward, again, that was definitely a lesson I learned, that even in hard times, people in our county are just above and beyond generous.
Yeah. Annie, of course, in the course of the next 9 months or so, you and Amanda are going to work with folks like Kris and with Jane to come up with strategies and events and structures that are going to help you to raise campaigns. Has that already begun?
It has, yeah. We're already talking about our plans for the upcoming year. And, you know, there's a great team at the United Way, so we're happy to be able to work with them and, you know, keep an eye on the Facebook page, on the website. So before you know it, we'll be advertising for upcoming events and all that good stuff.
Well, we recall how the campaign used to start with the ladies standing out here in the street corner at 9th and Philly with bags of donuts to hand out. That can come back, you know. In fact, it doesn't even have to be handed out that way. It can come back this way.
Gotcha. So, Jane, I'll be speaking with you about Todd's donation and how donuts can be incorporated in that.
Food is always a good thing to add.
Yeah,
it is.
People are very responsive.
I went through the entire year last year, and I haven't yet this year had a single donut.
Wow.
That's a new COVID standard.
Yeah. See, the COVID standard. We're setting the COVID standards here. Kris, this has been quite the year for you and for Chrissy as well. Jane, of course, with the United Way and everything that has been placed upon burden-wise for the United Way of Indiana County. And you've pulled through, and you've done more than just good work. You've done outstanding work in order to make this happen. Indiana County is a proud place, and the people of Indiana County can really pat their own backs if they would, because they really came through.
They sure did. Yeah, thank you, Todd, and thank you, ladies. You're gonna nail it next year, and thank you for your leadership, Jane.
Yeah. And I want to also thank you, Todd, and Josh, and Render Broadcasting for the support. You guys were fantastic, and everything that all the awareness and the support that you guys gave us this whole year. I mean, It really takes a whole team to do it.
Yeah, and there's a guy that comes in here on Saturday mornings and does the Oldies Attic.
Yeah. It was a big part of that.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Ladies, we thank you so much for coming in to spend some time with us. You folks to my left, you've got a lot of work to do. You folks to the right, maybe a little bit less work, but you're still going to be involved, and we appreciate all of those efforts from all of you and everybody with the United Way of Indiana County. Thanks again for coming in.
Thanks, Todd.
For having us.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160.